everyone. Lacy Frazer here with Freeing an Incarcerated World fundraising campaign. We are on week 7 of our campaign, and we are winding things down. And I am so excited to be sitting in the kitchen here with Lonnie Adams. And Lonnie Adams wanted to come to you today to help me talk a little bit about the importance of the film, as well as a little bit about reentry, because, you know, this film we are really hoping will catalyze a movement and a shift in the field of reentry, which is a place we know change needs to happen in our society. So good morning, Lonnie, and welcome.
Good morning, Dr. Lace. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm really happy that you joined us today. And as many of our listeners and viewers know, you were one of the stars of our pitch video, which was really, really awesome. And so I have interviewed you extensively, and we will hopefully use a lot of that footage in the film or the video series that we make. But I wanted today to take just a little bit of time to talk with you again, because I know you've got some things to say about reentry and about why you think that this film is important. And I thought you would be a great person to share with people some of these things, because as our listeners may or may not know, you spent a long time in prison. How many years were you in prison? I
did 11 years in the state prison, and I also did 26 years and 58 days in the federal prison.
Jeez. Okay. So, and you got out of prison when?
May the 25th, 2018.
Okay. So I can't imagine what that transition process was like for you, re-entering society after 35 plus years in prison, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But I do want our listeners to know also that you have done amazing things since you've been out, including becoming a certified peer support specialist, which is I want you to talk to us about as well. But in short, you are helping other people re-enter after they come out of prison now. So you have kind of two vantage points with respect to prison re-entry or societal re-entry. You re-entered after many, many years in prison, and you are also helping people as a peer support specialist with their process of reentry. So that is amazing. I just think what you are doing is incredible and so important. And I'm just so excited to kind of be on your team.
Thank you.
In addition to you being on my team. So all really good stuff. So we're not gonna do a full, you and I could talk for days, if not months, but we will take some time today to talk a little bit about reentry and about why this film is important. So why don't we start with your experience of coming back to society after 35 plus years in prison, and if you were to pick some of the top 3 things that were challenging for you, what would you want to talk about?
Well, I certainly would like to talk about my reentry and the problem that I had with learning technology.
Oh, yes.
Because in prison, there's only a limited amount of knowledge they give you to the computer.
Yeah.
So I was way behind there. And then when I stepped out into society, the rapid change of the way the world works. Example, when I left in 92, the phone was about as big as a suitcase. And now the phone, you can hold it in your hand. I mean, you can reach the world with this little bitty phone. And so that also presented a problem for me, even learning how to use the phone, which I am still learning how to use. The third thing would be I felt a little isolated and disconnected from others and the world. I mean, things were just moving way rapid.
Yeah.
Things was happening fast. People had changed. And so those were 3 of the challenges that I had when I re-entered into society.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about those things for a second. Okay, so you had to face I can't imagine after so many years living in prison and stepping out into the world as it is today. You mentioned technology, you mentioned the rapid pace of things. How was that for you sort of mentally and emotionally to adjust to?
Well, it was very, very emotional because you got to realize I had to go to my 8-year-old grandson to learn how to use a computer. I mean, who wants to go to the kid that young?
Yeah.
And this kid is way advanced, and I'm not. And I didn't feel all that comfortable asking my 8 or 9 or 10-year-old grandson how to do things. So that bothered me somewhat.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine. And kids these days, they're unbelievable. I mean, I really believe they're born with like different brains.
I do too. I think so too. I'm telling you.
Okay, so clearly technology is an easy example of something that was really challenging. What about just the routines of life? You know, you had been living in a prison cell, or you'd been living in prison barracks. I know at the end of your time, and you had to come home and live in a house and cohabitate and figure out how you were going to work with life, because you didn't have anybody telling you, when you were going to eat and when you were going to sleep and when lights were out and, all of those things. So can you give us just a kind of a general?
Well, that was kind of funny because when I got out, I was staying with my daughter. I had a room in my daughter's house. And what I found myself doing was I went and bought a case of water. And my daughter kept her water in the kitchen. Well, I took my case and put it in my room. And my daughter reminded me, Daddy, nobody's going to take your water. And I also went and we have a big refrigerator in the kitchen, but I went and bought a little small refrigerator and put it in my room. I was fixing my room up as if I was living in a prison cell.
Wow.
And I had to break myself from this routine.
Was that something that you did without even thinking about it?
It was something I just felt I needed to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a habit of having everything and I was putting my grocery in my room, and my daughter was saying, Daddy, you don't have to do that.
We have a whole kitchen.
You got a whole kitchen. You got a whole house.
Right.
I packed all my clothes. I had my clothes. I even took my toiletries, and I was putting it in my room.
Wow.
As opposed to leaving it in the bathroom. I was thinking I was living in a prison cell.
Yeah. I imagine in some ways that was wise, kind of, just of your unconscious self to help you adjust. So you kind of recreated sort of that prison cell environment for yourself sort of unconsciously because it's out of habit. But in some way, it probably provided you some comfort. Would you say that, or? Absolutely.
Well, it became, I guess I had easy access to everything.
Right.
I didn't have to bother anybody.
Right.
And I wanted to put a microwave in the room. But my daughter, no, Daddy.
She put the limit there?
She put Daddy, you don't have to do it. We have a microwave.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it made it easy for me.
Right. That's because probably a lot of people don't have that.
Right, and I didn't really want people in my room.
Right.
I wanted to keep my door locked.
Yeah.
As if I was in a prison cell.
Yeah. How long did it take you to sort of ease out of that?
Well, I don't know. I've eased out of it somewhat. I don't know have I made the transition yet because I was used to brushing, going to the shower and brushing my teeth in the shower. And I even do it now. Matter of fact, just this morning, somebody had to remind me, hey, man, you don't have to brush your teeth in the shower. So I'm still transitioning.
Yeah. And it's been a year and a half.
It's been 18 months.
18 months, mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. So that speaks to the time to transition and adjust is probably somewhat proportional to the amount of time you spend in prison. I mean, when you spend that long in prison, I would think it's going to take you a longer time.
Well, there is no formula to how long it takes.
Yeah.
I think it's the individual. Like I said, it's no timeline to it. I don't know if it's going to be 2 years, 5 years.
Right.
I mean, you've done something repetitively 37 years.
Yeah.
And you're just not going to drop it like that.
Right.
And I have no set date when it's going to change.
Right.
I'm always finding myself doing things that I've done in prison.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Well, I imagine one way you can look at all that is that is that you, in a way, your prison life has, and kind of recreating it and keeping some of those habits in place have really helped you feel comfortable through this transition.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
getting up on a certain time of morning, doing things like that.
Yeah.
It helps.
Yeah.
Being disciplined.
Yeah. So other than technology and emotional support and kind of relationships and things like that, I'm sure you had to rebuild and reconnect with people, and any other like things that really stand out that was a challenge for you when you came out.
Well, dealing with the opposite sex was a challenge too,
Yeah.
because people have changed. And I think when I was in prison, if you go in 92 and you don't get out until 2018, your mind is still kind of stuck in the thoughts of 92.
Yes.
You're still seeing things the way you did in 92. And so when you get out, a lot of time you will see people who they look different, they act different, but in your mind, they were the same. They were the same people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like you taking a Polaroid snapshot of 1992.
Right.
And when you get out, you got that in your back pocket.
That's right.
And you're operating from that Polaroid.
Operating from that.
Yeah.
So you're shocked.
Yeah.
At the transformation people have made mentally, physically,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah. That's a really good point, and something that any kind of reentry program that certainly I would devise, would definitely talk about and address. That's a great metaphor.
And that's why when you get out of reentry, you have to be careful about going into relationships, because you don't know the person. You know the person.
You think you do.
You think you know them from 92.
Right.
But they have made a shift in their life, as well as you have made a shift in your life.
Well, and they've had, you both journeyed tremendously different experiences. Right? Over that 37 years.
Right.
And as we know, life experiences are our greatest teacher, and they shift how we think about things and how we behave and all of those things.
Correct.
So really good points, Lonnie. Thank you for that. So one of the things that I really admire about you is that you got out and found your way to become a certified peer support specialist, which is somebody who helps people and support people in transitioning back into society. And I just think that's brilliant, because I'm sure that in that role, you're not just helping them, but you're also helping yourself heal.
Right. That is a true statement.
Yeah.
I am. I'm seeing myself in those guys.
Yes.
And I kind of know their needs as well as I know my own needs in helping them. And it allows me to be patient with them.
Yes.
And to be tolerant with them and really understand what they're going through because of what I am still going through.
Yes.
And that peer support specialist program is great also.
So when you think about what you're witnessing in other people through being a support specialist, are there any particular challenges that you could identify right away that people almost everybody faces when they get out? I know you mentioned earlier that practical things like traveling from point A to point B. Do people have cars?
Most people, when they first get out, they don't have access to cars. They don't have family support. A lot of them don't have family support. A lot of them don't have housing. A lot of them don't have access to clothes, to medical things. And they need someone to guide them to simple things as going to get the driver's license, going to social service, things like that. Because a lot of time they don't know. And a lot of these guys have been involved in the criminal aspect of life. And they have no clue about the legal aspect of life. And so they go out with the anticipation that they can wing it. But it's not that simple. You can't do it like that. You have to know what you're doing. You have to have someone to guide you, although you will make a major mistake, a major turn, and it can impact your whole life. So when they come out, someone needs to be there, or a program needs to be there to help guide those people, as it was for me.
Right.
We need someone. We need a place where they can go, and someone, they can have some of the programs that I had, like the Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life program in prison. A place where they can go, where people can teach them about their self-awareness. And this program, like I said, it helped me when I was in prison. It helped me focus. It helped me find my authentic self. And you need a place where you can go and continuously get these classes, and they will keep you on the right road.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I think that, as you know, I definitely have a larger vision to provide something like that for people. And I think that the peer support specialist training seems to provide much needed support from people who've gone through the same thing, are now helping their peers get on their feet, kind of find answers to those practical things, help them with the practical decision making and aspects of life, getting, the traveling, the getting a driver's license, finding housing, even finding a job, right? But then it seems like what you're referring to and what I believe in is there's another level of support that's needed, which is this emotional support, which is life skills support, which is helping people take 100% responsibility for their life and look at life through a new lens so that they feel empowered, right?
Yes.
To like you said, learn more about legal aspects of life and how to live healthy lifestyles and make healthy choices and smart choices, as opposed to that criminal mindset that they may have been used to.
Right. And they need a place, a brick and mortar place where they can go to classes.
Yeah.
They can go to classes where they have people who can coach them through these things.
Well, you bring up a really good word, which is coach. I believe that people coming out of prison need coaches. They need people who want to not just support, right? And not be like a probation officer who is there to kind of make sure you follow the right path, follow the law, all those things, right? They need people who see their value and people who can help them maximize their potential. Right. And I would love to, my dream is some kind of school as, what you're talking about. And I get people like you and several of the other men who become peer support specialists and who've already gone through my program to be the teachers and the facilitators and the helpers in that program, in that school. So I think that would be awesome. I agree with you. And I appreciate you saying that. So, the last thing before we wrap up is, that I'm trying to make this film. That I'm believing that this film could be a documentary. It could be a docuseries. It could be a ton of film footage that we cut into video clips that we use in classes that we teach in the school we want to make. You have graciously agreed to sit with me on multiple occasions. You have graciously agreed to be a part of this film. And I just feel so blessed for that. I just always feel that, and I have to say that. And so I want to ask you, why do you think a film like this would be important to make? Why do you want to share your story?
Well, I think the film would be important because it would show people that change is possible. And they need to know that. They really need to know that change is possible, because some people don't really believe that change is possible. They believe that they're stuck in the same spot all their life. Well, I am who I am, and nothing's going to change. But that's not true.
Well, that's kind of like people feel like a victim. I am a victim of life.
Right. I'm a victim of life, and what happened to me, I can't change it,
right.
Which is not true.
Right.
And this is why we need this film, to show that show people that change is possible. We also need this film made because it provides inspiration and motivation to change. This film would show that.
Yeah.
And it would show you people. It would show you people who have been inspired. It would show you people who have been motivated enough to change.
Yes.
Living people, flesh people, flesh and blood people, you know.
Real people.
Real people, people that you can identify with.
Yes.
Even people that you probably know. And some people you know their life, their story. So you'll be a witness to the change that they have made. And the film also need to be made to give people the tools to change. You'll be able to see that. And you'll be able to go to look at the classes. You'll be able to even go to the brick and mortar place once it becomes, once we able to achieve that.
Right, bringing it to form.
Right, and I have no doubt that it will be brought into form. I have no doubt. So this film is very, very, very important to make. I know what the change your thoughts and change your life did for me when I was in prison. And even now, when I get ready to do certain things, I go back to the lessons that I had in that class.
Yeah.
And I know I left every morning, like I said, criminal-minded when I was in the street, always plotting and planning to do something criminal to make me some money. Well, after I took that class, now I leave out the house every morning with an opposite mindset to do something legal. Every morning that I leave my house to do something that will inspire somebody, to do something that will hopefully motivate somebody to make a positive change. And I know that this film, it would touch everybody's heart.
Yeah.
So I'm asking anybody who wants to help change people or who wants to help people, stay straight, or who wants to just touch people's heart, help make this film. Please help make this film. It is needed. And I am living proof that this class, Change Your Thought, Change Your Life, this program, this teaching, it works. I'm living proof. After 37 years in incarceration, I am living proof because every day I keep a thought of something I learned in that class, and it keeps me on the straight, and what they say, straight and narrow. It keeps me going that way. I don't even think about wrongdoing anymore. I don't even think about it.
Don't make me cry.
And I don't want to even talk to people about it. No more wrongdoing.
Yeah.
Because the world is ours. All we have to do is do what's right. And this film would help us stay on that path. So please help this film as much as you can. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much for being with me today and for sharing your wisdom. And I know that we're going to do great things together. And I know your wisdom is going to pour through the film. It's going to pour through Reentry Academy. It's going to pour, it's going to help coach other people and teach other people. And I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed to know you, to be in your life, and to share this journey with you. So thank you. Yes, one more thing.
And let me say this, please. Do not trivialize your impact. Whatever you can do, small or large, it will make an impact on somebody's life. I just wanted to interject that. Thank you.
And maybe that's where we will end. And I have chills, and I appreciate it. And this is Lacy Frazer signing off from our Week 7 Freeing an Incarcerated Soul campaign update. Thanks, everybody.